Hi there, my name's Mike Ronald and welcome to this edition of Mike's Money Minute, brought to you by Ronald Financial Services. The question I'm often asked is, Mike, what do I do with spare cash? This is a great problem to have. And in order to answer it, we need to have one other bit of information. How long is this cash going to remain spare? Because there's a brilliant rule of thumb. If the cash is going to need to be accessed within 5 years, rather use that cash to reduce your debt. But if you don't need the cash within 5 years, rather invest it. How did we come to these answers? And why reduce the debt? Well, let's have a look at an example. Imagine you've got spare cash of 10,000 Rand and debt of 50,000 Rand. In today's market, a bank is likely to offer you 7% on your spare cash. You're likely to have to pay the bank 10.5% per annum on your debt. So income from your spare cash will be 700 Rand, but you would need to pay the bank 5,250 Rand per annum. Every year, that means you'd be out of pocket 4,550 Rand. Now, imagine we took the 10,000 Rand and reduced your debt from 50,000 Rand to 40,000 Rand. We'd still need to pay the 10.5% to the bank, but that amount would reduce down to 4,200 Rand. A saving of some 1,050 Rand, much better than just the 700 Rand that we would receive from cash. So it's preferable to reduce your debt in these circumstances, but so long as you can access that debt and draw the money out when you need it. If you can't, then rather keep the money in a money market fund or on call at a bank. Let's now look at the situation where you don't need to access your cash until 5 years have passed or more. And let's answer the question, why invest it then? Let's look at what we've had. Spare cash of 10,000 Rand, a reduction in debt of 10,000 Rand, and now add to it the option of investing 10,000 Rand. When dealing with periods of 5 years or more, we need to take into account the effects of inflation. And looking at statistics issued by the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the average returns from cash and investments and debt have been these over the last 29 years. 0.7% from cash after the effects of inflation. Debt would have cost you 4.2% per annum, higher than inflation. But an investment in a company or series of companies listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange would have earned you 7.8% per annum on average above inflation, which is why, for a period of 5 years or more, it is better to invest. But what are the risks and why the period of 5 years or more? Well, remember that share prices can go up and down, and you might well find yourself in a situation that for the first few years, prices can fall, and so the value of your investment might be lower than what you started with. Let's look at this graph as published by the JSE. It shows the average returns on a series of companies on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange over the last 5 years. Look at the first period. Quite soon after investing, the value of your investments would have been lower than what you started. And that would have been like that for the first year, which is why another rule of thumb states that when investing on a stock market and shares in companies, it's better to wait for at least 5 years before needing to access your cash. Another matter to realize is that when dealing with companies, that more than half of the return per annum can come from your dividends. And if you are investing in a regular and reliable dividend payer, the risks associated with this kind of investment reduce dramatically. So, let's just recap. We started out by saying if you have spare cash, we need to know how long it is that it is spare. If less than 5 years, let's use it to reduce debt. If you don't need the money for more than 5 years, rather invest it. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Mike's Money Minute and dealing with the question, what to do with spare cash. This has been brought to you by Ronald Financial Services.